they're in the writing room, and he's like, "All right, now how about here?" It turns out she's actually an animal in human skin, and Nicholas Sparks like, let's
How about
Yep.
here? She has cancer. And M. Night's like, yep, that's it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Nerdy and Nice. I'm John. With me, as always, Lacey Gilleran. Lacey,
Hello.
happy Nerds Day to you.
Is that what it is officially, or did you just make that up?
Just made it up.
Oh,
You like it?
nice. Yeah.
Let it grow on you.
All right. I'll think about it.
No, thanks to everybody who is listening or watching. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Lacey, let's just dive right into the warm-up before our bigger stories. Well, at least stories we can really talk at length about, because these are little tidbits. One, a rumor that the Russo brothers have reportedly signed a new deal with Marvel Studios to oversee multiple new projects, including the X-Men films. Russo brothers, known for their Avengers movies. What is your thoughts on the Russo brothers continuing with Marvel, but potentially also the X-Men movies? And again, that's a rumor. I think like Daniel RPK or something like that. So we don't know if there's accuracy to that. But quick thoughts on that.
I'm going to lean towards this rumor's probably true because Marvel loves the Russo brothers. They're doing the new Doomsday film. I am not a big fan of theirs. I wasn't a big fan of the Endgame movies. My favorite part of those movies was when Captain America got Thor's hammer, and like that's it. Like that was the best part of the movie. Everything else like didn't matter that much to me. I didn't agree with the ending with Tony dying. So I mean, this is kind of okay, sure. I am excited that they're bringing the X-Men into the fold. That's exciting, and they kind of hinted at that with Deadpool and Wolverine. Or Wolverine Deadpool? Was it Wolverine Deadpool or Deadpool and Wolverine?
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. But I mean, I would be happier if it was someone else.
Yeah, me too. I always feel like the X-Men is sort of like the neglected sibling of Marvel in a good way. Like X-Men is sort of in its own lane. The X-Men
Kind of like a
animated series.
mutant story that's like off on its own, you know.
Yeah, exactly. The jeez. The X-Men animated series had its own spotlight in the 90s. X-Men in 2000 like really kicked off the return of superhero comic book movies.
Sure.
And now people have been waiting for a new canon, the Marvel version of X-Men, and here we are. I don't know that I like that it's the Russo brothers, because I wanted that freshness that X-Men gives you from other perspectives. So we'll see if that's true. We'll see what they do with that. But in other Marvel news, we will not be getting second seasons of Agatha All Along or WandaVision, because the showrunner, Jack Schaefer, she doesn't want to. She told the actress Patti LuPone from Agatha All Along, quote, "I don't do second seasons. They wanted me to do a second season of WandaVision, and I didn't. There's too much to write," end quote. Your thoughts on that?
I just like that she's straightforward about it, because I feel like every show, every movie, any type of piece of media that comes out, if there's some type of fandom for it or people that like it, it immediately is, let's get another one. Can we have another one? And look, I'm guilty of that, guys. I get it. I want another Solo too. I'm part of the problem. I understand.
We're a big
However,
part of the problem.
I do appreciate that she's coming straightforward with it and being like, no, I'm not making another one. So there's no reason to campaign. There's no reason to assume things or put out rumors, or she's like, nah, not happening. And I don't think those stories need more. I think they told the story they wanted to tell, and I think that's okay. We've gotten into this kind of pattern of telling stories for too long. Like just dragging them out. it's okay to just have the story be its own little piece and then move to the next thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I watched WandaVision, I thought it was fine. Tried to watch Agatha all along. I think I got into the second episode and I realized it wasn't for me.
I got into
Um,
2 episodes too, and I kind of gave up on it.
yeah.
Mm.
I love Catherine Hahn, but wasn't feeling that one.
Mhm.
But we'll see what comes of those characters, whether it's someone else gets involved or what have you. I'm sure we'll see them at some point because Marvel always brings people back around, like we were just talking about the X-Men. But
Mhm.
Super Bowl coming up in 6 days.
Dun-dun-dun,
We got the
dun-dun-dun.
Eagles. We got the Chiefs. I want to vomit as a Giants fan. The Bills got absolutely screwed in that game. You could see the evidence. I don't know how you call a catch on a ball that hits the ground. I don't know how a ball crosses the plane for first down. You don't call it a first down. But here we are. The Chiefs are back. Manufactured dynasty, as Kansas City fans who bought their first jersey 8 years ago are going to turn off the podcast now. But you know it's true. Anyway, more importantly, the Super Bowl's about movies, commercials, and we're getting Thunderbolts trailer. We're getting a Smurfs trailer, which Rihanna is playing Smurfette. I did not know that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the big ones, you got Tommy Cruise coming at you with Mission Impossible 8 trailer, which is going to be, some massive stunt in the trailer. And
Mhm.
then the trailer for Jurassic World Rebirth. Gareth Edwards. Are we going to see a dinosaur? They're doing that thing where they're hiding the dinosaurs. They're trying to build the suspense. So,
Mhm.
Lacey, out of all those trailers, Thunderbolts, Smurfs, and then these 2 big ones, Jurassic World, Mission Impossible, maybe more get announced this week. Any that you're excited to see?
Probably Mission Impossible. I like Tom Cruise. I think he does good movies. His trailers and films are always entertaining. I gotta catch up with Mission Impossible. I didn't
You're
get
trying to
to
get that
watch.
cake, girl.
I mean, I would love it, but no, I'm actually being genuine.
No, I know, I know.
I haven't watched the last one with Haley Atwell, which I need to watch it. Um, I'll probably watch it before the Super Bowl. I'm gonna make it a mission. Is it impossible to
Uh,
do it before the Super Bowl? But I'm gonna try to do it. Um, that being said, yeah, I guess we'll see what else happens. I hate the new trend where they do at the Super Bowl where they show things ahead of time, like
yes.
commercials and stuff.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
kind of ruins the excitement of the event itself because I love watching the Puppy
I
Bowl.
agree.
I love watching the commercials. I'm not the biggest football fan. I've been rooting for Travis Kelce, but even then, I'm kind of over it
Oh.
now. It's gotten a little old. I understand what people are saying. I was at some event last weekend, a family friends party, and these women, these moms were like, "I am sick of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Get off my TV." And I was like, "Wow, if they're sick of them, woof." I can't even imagine what other people think. And I understand it's like bombardment at some point. And that's not Taylor's fault. That's not Travis's fault per se. I think the Kelseys in general are trying to bank on their popularity now while they still have it. And I can't hate on that. Like the fact that Kylie Kelsey, Travis or Jason's wife, is the number one podcast in America. Like, good for you. Way to go. Bank it now. I appreciate people that hustle, and they definitely do.
Don't start a cryptocurrency.
No meme coins around here, but I do think, based on what you said just now and things that I've seen online, that there is a little bit of play into who the NFL would like to see in the Super Bowl because, as we know, last year they reported that Taylor Swift brought, I think, $390 million worth of advertising and excitement and everything else to the NFL, whether you want to accept it or not. I did want to ask before we get into what's happening, do you know the current standings of the TRB Fantasy Football League? And I know I lost terribly,
Right.
but who's winning that or who's left?
It's
Fun fact
over.
for everybody at home, we do have a fantasy football league through our Patreon, TRB Podcasts on patreon.com/TRB podcast. So we did a league this year, and I was doing really well at one point, and then it fell apart very fast. Like there was 2 weeks in a row, I think a bunch of my dudes were hurt, and it just killed me. It killed any lead I had.
Yeah, so I made it to the finals, and I played against. I'm trying to pull it up. Let's see what this final winning thing was. Jeremie won. Jeremie, IE, Wolf King Jeremie.
Congratulations.
His team was Deuce of the Fates. They beat me in a slugfest, 149 to 128. So Vader's Raiders takes second place. Jeremie wins. I believe we were supposed to send him a T-shirt. So Jeremie, we owe you a T-shirt.
I have a trophy right here in my office to send you with other swag. So congratulations. I'm glad we got to kind of announce this on during the football chat.
Yes. And low-key shout out. The worst luck in the league went to NEEL SHAH, who was one of the higher scoring teams, but he just ran into bad luck in matchups and he didn't have a good record. So sometimes you need the luck with the matchups.
How did I do?
Oh, great. You finished like 9th, I think. I'll tell you right now.
But I had Patrick Mahomes, so, you know.
The Bavarian Legends finished at a mighty 4-10. And was the second lowest scoring team in the league. But you had a good time. So
I'm telling you, there were a couple weeks there that I did really well that I was like, oh my God, I might actually do well here. Yeah, and then there was one week I forgot to switch someone out. And then the next week I forgot to switch someone out. And then a bunch of people got hurt. And I was like, now it's over.
Yeah. Well, it happens. It's fun though. We didn't, gamble.
I'll get them next year.
I didn't win my other fantasy leagues for football either. Baseball I do better in. But one quick other thing, I know we had fun getting gossipy on the pod 2 weeks ago. But you know how like Blake Lively was at the Super Bowl last year and it was a big deal. And she wasn't at the AFC Championship game, but Caitlin Clark, the basketball star, was there with Taylor Swift. So she still had guests, but Blake not on the list this time.
And Caitlin was just on Travis and Jason's podcast. Yeah, she was on there.
Smart gal.
She was on their podcast first and then was in the box with Taylor, which it's Travis's box that they sit in.
Yeah. And she's a great basketball player too. I think she's going to just like that league they need to start embracing her because nobody watches the WNBA and she's the reason people started watching and she's really good. So
it's insane that she wasn't on the USA team.
It's insane that a lot of things. You have owners from other teams saying she doesn't deserve the accolades. I'm like, she's putting money in your pocket. Shut up. What are you? Why are you hating on one of your biggest stars?
She's
I don't know if it's
very, very good.
What,
I don't know. Yeah. She's very good, and they didn't put her on Team USA. And then they had a WNBA team play against the USA team, and she killed them.
Oh yeah,
she's good,
really good. Yeah,
yeah.
But I was thinking just real quick, the whole reveal about. I have been following this. I'm not gonna lie. The text, like the Justin Baldoni voicemail that he left after she texted him this whole thing about the dragons and she has Ryan and Taylor or whatever. Like Taylor Swift, I guess was like a little involved with this.
Throwing her weight around. Yeah.
She's distancing herself now that it's ugly. Leaving her high and dry, maybe.
It's only going to get worse because they're getting even more crazy with gag orders and everything else.
Yeah, that whole thing's getting ugly for everybody. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. It's just interesting to think about. The Bills did get screwed. I feel bad for Josh Allen. Bills never won a Super Bowl. My Giants did beat them once on a missed field goal, which was wonderful, but that team has never won. Though. He got engaged, but he's a great player, and he did deserve it, and they got hosed so bad in that game. But anyway, it is time to talk about the stuff we love to talk about, our main topics. And Lacey, what's happening?
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Enough, I get the point.
Lots of interesting stories this week. Kicking it off, no one's going to be surprised about this one. Superman 30-second teaser shows the Man of Steel in flight. It was very cool. You get to see him flying around in the icy Antarctic weather through icebergs and whatnot. There is a bit of controversy that's been going around that it looked like CG. It didn't look right. People were kind of ganging up on the clip, being like, "What is this trash?" And that's me being nice, by the way. In the sense of what people said. I didn't say that. James Gunn then responded and said that it actually is no CG. And he said, quote, "There is absolutely zero CG in his face. People's faces can look different when you put a wide angle lens up close. The background plate in Svalbard is 100% real, as is David." So, I mean, that's as real as you can get. He's literally telling you technically, like, there's a wide lens. It looks weird, but it's him. And the guy was on set. He was the one behind the camera. So I'm pretty sure he's telling you the truth here.
Yeah.
But again, people don't take anything at face value anymore. They're always like, there's some other play here. But John, you saw the clip. What'd you think? What do you think of James Gunn's response, fans' response?
Well, quickly on the fans' response, it seems to be a lot of already decided hate from people who are devoted to what Zack Snyder was doing.
Yes, and Henry
And
Cavill
look,
specifically.
Yeah, I love Man of Steel. It is my favorite
Mhm.
Superman movie, and I love the Christopher Reeve stuff. So, I was, you know, how hard I was rooting for Henry Cavill to come back and get a true
We both
sequel. I
were.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love that, but there are fans who are trying to pit a wedge in between. It's just so childish and stupid. So I urge people to just ignore all that crap and see this as a new story for Superman, a new start. And I'm on board, as you know. I thought the clip was cool, like seeing him from behind flying. He's obviously going at a pretty high rate of speed. They're using the Top Gun technique that Kosinski used with the cameras right up in the cockpit. And again, in context, this might be a very grand flying scene, and we're seeing a one little quick spot. And James Gunn is very calculated in what he reveals. We knew that from Guardians of the Galaxy. We knew that when those like on location candid shots that people took and posted online, he's like, don't even worry about that. That's in like 2 minutes of the movie. Like he knows what people are looking at. He's online, as you said. He's very aware of what's happening. So whatever he put in that clip, he knew a reaction it might get. And maybe he's testing people out that way. James Gunn's very smart, so I have full faith in him. It shows a rundown of some of the other clips from the first trailer. You got the music still in there, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be a very cool take on the flight of Superman, and it didn't change anything for me, and I'm excited to see more.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now just to kind of relook at it, because I'm going to admit, when I first looked at this clip, I was like, something's a little off about his face in that when he does the flip over. And James Gunn is right. There is kind of a wide angle lens here. I think honestly, it's his eyes that people have an issue
Yes.
with, because he's not looking directly at the lens like I am right now. He's looking slightly above it, and his one eye is a little bit more scrunched than the other one. So people are going like, this doesn't look like, what whack CG is this? When he's probably has a huge fan in front of him and is blowing in his face.
And Superman could fly like 2,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, I'm saying like they're probably blowing a huge like leaf blower in his face, and like, let's see how you look when that happens. But I think it's the eyes. And as humans, anytime something doesn't look right in the eyes, which we often see in bad CG or bad visual
Uncanny
effects, is
Valley, yeah.
right. It's the first thing that people get turned off from. And I think that's what it is, because when you freeze frame it, when he initially flips over, one eye is slightly up and the other one's looking straight. So it looks kind of like a lazy eye. And then it like readjusts, and then he like readjusts his eyes a little bit. And so it looks weird. So in defense of fans, I understand what they're saying. that it doesn't look right, because his eyes aren't perfectly focused on the lens because he's probably doing this stunt and stuff. I do agree with James Gunn that it probably does look a little off due to the wide lens, but I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is the eyes. And I thought the same thing when I saw the clip, as I was like, does he have a lazy eye in this shot? Like, what is this? But I don't think that should determine the overall vibe or look of the film based on this tiny clip. I think that they're going to release a longer trailer in the Super Bowl, because they're releasing this so close to the Super Bowl, and it's using similar clips of the one they've already released, like longer clips or a different angle. They show Lex Luthor with his big furry coat. It just seems like something that they would release during the Super Bowl.
That'd be awesome.
Or I could see them releasing maybe the theme of Superman Now out or something, like something special for the Super Bowl. It's called Super Bowl Superman. Like, it's right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be great. I'm still so excited for this movie, but I agree with you, John. I think there are a lot of fans, and I'm gonna compare to Star Wars just because we're kind of in that the most, that immediately will say something sucks before they've seen it, before they have any information, just because they want to hate on it. And I don't think that's just Star Wars. I don't think that's just Superman. I think it's people in general now. Like, we live in a very negative environment landscape online where people are so quick to say the worst things. And I think people forget that you don't have to say what's in your head. Like, you could just not write the comment. You could not post that thing that you're thinking, and everybody treats everything like a comment section. I think there was an instance last week where I was at Costco and I was buying ground beef at Costco, and they had put out, the person came out, it was like first thing in the morning. They put all the meat out. So I was letting the guy finish his job so that he can do what he needs to do. And then some lady was in front of me. So I let her go first. Then I go. This guy comes around me, and I'm looking because I'm trying to get my meat order based on price, because I'm trying to get a certain amount of weight and price for my meat. And this guy turns to me. Ground beef, I said.
Oh, ground beef. Okay.
Yeah, I make really good meatballs. Fun fact. And this guy, I love meatloaf, meatballs. I do cheeseburger meatballs, Italian meatballs, and meatloaf. Okay. I also make tacos.
You never sent me meatballs.
You want some? I have some.
Yeah.
I'll bring you some
I'll
over.
take some meatballs. Yeah.
They're delicious.
And Kathleen doesn't make meatballs, so it's not a competition thing. Just bring your meatballs.
You want cheeseburger or Italian?
Both.
They're so good. I do cheeseburger meatballs, and then I do like a Mac sauce, like a Big Mac sauce with pickles and lettuce. Yes. Yeah, it's so good. Oh, anyway. So this guy comes up next to me, and he's looking at me, and I'm kind of like out of the corner of my eye, like, mind your own business. And the guy goes, "Oh, are none of these good enough for you?" Meanwhile, I'm looking at the price and the weight to stay within the budget that I've set for myself. But this guy doesn't know that. But just immediately, I looked at him and I was like, no, I'm just looking for one under 6 pounds, In my head, I'm going, everybody treats everything like a comment section. Like, everything has to have some type of retort, response. Everyone thinks they're a comedian. Like, you're not funny. Just let me get my groceries. Like, you don't have to chime in. You don't have to be a part of the experience. Like, there isn't a chat here. It's just
assuming negativity. Like, he looked at you. It's like the ink test thing. He looked at you and he's like, she must hate this. Like, that's where his brain went. So that's his problem.
I know, but it's just insane because it's like, here I am just being like, okay, this is 8 pounds. I need a 6-pounder, looking around. And this guy's immediately like, oh, not good enough.
Who
and
is
I'm
this
like,
guy?
okay, bro, chill. I don't know, but like, people are going nuts with eggs at Costco too. That was like very, very crazy eggs. Anyway, let's get to some more positive stories. Up next, we have an update on Frozen 3, which I know my daughter will be pumped about, which Josh Gad said it's not going to be released sooner than 2027. So sad it won't be released for 2-3 years. But he did say, quote, "No one wants to rush this. Everyone wants this to not just be a sequel or a money grab. They want this to be the absolute worthy of the story we set out to make in 2013. Now, when I first saw Frozen 2, the first time, because I've seen it probably like 68 times at this point. The first time I saw Frozen 2, I thought it felt like very much a money grab. I was like, this seems like this
I
is
haven't
not
seen it.
needed. Oh, you should.
What made it
watch.
feel that way?
Like to me, the story didn't really make sense. Like it was just
Mm.
kind of all over the place. And I was like, this is weird. They don't mention any of these things in the first movie, but I get it's because they didn't know the first one was gonna be so popular. So then they're kind of in the issue of like, how do we explain this, and this?
Mhm.
I gotta tell you, it's grown on me. I
Oh,
like it.
alright.
I like it a lot. The songs are better than the first film.
That can't be possible.
It is possible. The songs are very, very good. But I understand. You want to do it right. Iger's making them make 5, I believe, at this point. They want to do 5 Frozen. So this is
Wow.
only 3. So I'm going to be watching Frozen for the next 15 years of my life. But I appreciate someone saying that. At the same time, I know that the Jennifer Lee, I believe her name was, she was the head of Disney Animation, has stepped down from Disney Animation, leading it, and went back on Frozen specifically, which she had done really well with Frozen, then got promoted, and then they bumped her back down to Frozen. So I automatically was concerned that I was like, they're bringing back in this other person because they can't continue on where they're going. The good news is that the same team that did the original songs are still there. They also are the same team that did the Agatha All Along song and a couple other things for Disney. They're sticking around as well. So at least the music will be good. But I'm not really sure where the story goes from here. I think the only opportunity they probably have is Anna and Kristoff to have a kid is one option, or Elsa to find some type of love interest. But I don't know if you have much more thought into the lore of Frozen.
No, my daughter loves Frozen as well. So
She hasn't seen the second one?
I think she has. I haven't.
Wow.
So she'll be 6 when this comes out. Your daughter will
Yeah.
be like 5 going on 6 or whatever.
Maybe we'll have to group trip it.
Yeah, perfect wheelhouse. But here's the thing. Like, there's nobody more of a company guy from a talent perspective for Disney than Josh Gad. He's all over there. Come see the Galactic Star Cruiser. Come see this. Hey, everybody, Josh Gad again. And it's, so of course he's going to say stuff like this. So you got to take that at face value. But the timeline's there. They're still a couple years away. So he could be doing PR spin because they're trying to get the budget for the animated studio. I don't know, but I think these movies are always pretty solid, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just excited that my daughter's gonna probably get to maybe her first movie in the theater will be Frozen 3 because I took Johnny when he was 5 to his first movie, Star Wars Phantom Menace. So maybe we'll do a little party.
That would be fun. That would be very fun.
Yeah. So yeah, good for Frozen. Keep that rolling because my daughter loves it, and that's all that needs to happen with this for me. So.
And John and I are going to Disney Tokyo Sea or Tokyo Disney Sea or whatever it is. I think it's Disney Tokyo Sea in Japan in a couple months. And the first ride we go on is the Frozen ride. I booked us a fast pass.
Is that different than the Frozen ride at Disney World?
100%. Right. It's brand new. It's beautiful. Like the animatronics and everything aren't the face ones that you have in Disney World where they're like this. It's like an actual animatronic, and they do like freezing and then they unfreeze and like it's right. So it's
well now
cool.
You're telling me that you're spoiling the whole thing.
I'm not spoiling it. It's better in person.
I know they're freezing now and stuff.
Well, that's what they do in the movie. I literally said nothing that doesn't happen in the movie.
All right. Now I'm just trying to. You always accuse me of spoiling, so I'm trying to get you. All right.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see that. Anyway, I'm also excited for this next thing, which I probably will watch. Reese Witherspoon gives an update on the Legally Blonde series L. And she says it's, quote, kind of a trip. So she was doing press recently of the new movie, the rom-com You're Cordially Invited, which I haven't watched yet. It's with Will Ferrell. It seems like right in my box of
Oh,
things I
yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah,
Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon, rom-com. I
yep.
should watch it. She said to People exclusively, I'm really excited we start in March, as in filming for the Series L. She says that she's really excited and she's going through the casting process and picking who's going to play a young me. She said she's really enthusiastic with all the young girls that are coming through the casting process. They really want to play her. And she says it's getting hard to determine who's going to be that person. So that's going to be definitely a big casting announcement. So yeah, we will. Oh, I just realized I got distracted because she said that the Chihuahua is no longer here. That's very sad. Mooney the
Oh,
dog who
yes.
plays the
Yes.
Chihuahua. So she'll have to get a new animal. But anyway, that is exciting. John, would you watch Elle the series? Are you as excited as I am for this series? Are you just exhausted for more reboots and prequels and nostalgia fan service?
I am not going to see this. I don't have interest in this one. I thought the first Legally Blonde was fun. I don't think I saw the second one. I don't know. It's not really in my wheelhouse. I was looking up quickly to see if her daughter is an actor because she looks just like her.
Oh
So
my
that would
God,
make
it's
sense.
insane how much they look like. Yeah.
Like that would be a no-brainer casting, but I don't know if she acts. I have
I
no
don't
idea.
think she does.
Yeah. So yeah, not much to say there.
Mhm.
I like Reese Witherspoon. I think she's good, but she's not in this unless she's going to be doing like one of those narrating things, I guess.
I feel like she'll do the narration. I think that's how they're going to do it.
But then at that point, it's like, well, what's the draw? Because for Legally Blonde, the draw is Reese Witherspoon. So
It's true.
it's interesting. It's I and also don't forget, I didn't think the Penguin was going to do well, and
Yeah.
boy was I wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah, I wish it well, and I believe she's also doing a sequel too, where
She
she's going to
is.
be in it. So
Yes.
then you're going to get Jennifer Coolidge back, who's going to do that voice that everybody thinks she actually sounds like, because every impressionist online.
I want a hot dog real bad.
Yeah, so every online impressionist, all these people who do the reels of the same actors. They do Owen Wilson, they do Christopher Walken, they do Jennifer Coolidge, like they do all the same ones. And they
Ariana
all
Grande does a Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, but they all do this character that she does. Jennifer Coolidge does not sound like that, like at all. So it's just so funny how this
She's
became
made
her
it her
voice.
thing. Yeah.
And now it's become her thing where she does do it. She did it in White Lotus, which I didn't. I should have added that. We'll have to do that next week. The White Lotus season 3 trailer just came out. We'll talk about that next week.
She's the
Yeah,
the massage table
the
lady
masseuse
in
in Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. Yeah,
Yeah.
she doesn't sound anything like that.
No, and
Fabulous hair, by the way.
She was on the Golden Globes red carpet, and this kid, he's really good, and he's yet becoming really popular. Matthew Friend.
Yeah,
he does a really good Goldblum impression, whatever. He did her to her, but he did the Legally Blonde voice, and she was like talked in her normal voice. She's like, "Oh wow, you're really good at that."
So cringe.
Yeah. And he did Nicolas Cage to Nicolas Cage in front of Nicolas Cage's wife, and you could tell Nick Cage was just like not amused. So Nick sort of gave him a backhanded compliment, which I liked. He goes, "Yours is more of an Andy Samberg, Nick Cage." And I was like, "Oh." That was cool. But no, yeah,
Oh,
good
geez.
luck with them with this, and hopefully whatever happens with this doesn't dictate what happens with the sequel, because that'll probably be more fun, I think. But anyway.
Now, everyone knows I'm a fan of rom-com, but I'm curious to see if I will be a fan of a romantic thriller, which is the next story. And I think this is probably one of the wildest stories we've had in the past year. I'm not gonna lie. I read this headline and I was like, I'm sorry, what? So Jake Gyllenhaal is set to star in an original film from M. Night Shyamalan, which, by the way, Trap is all that's in my head lately. Is like how bad that movie was.
First half
With-
good, second half bad.
Yeah, teaming up with Nicholas Sparks. Now, we haven't heard from Nicholas Sparks in a while, but he's known for The Notebook, a bunch of other books and films, including the one where Miley Cyrus met her eventual husband, Liam Hemsworth. That's also one of his novels. He's like the romance guy. I'm trying to think of who's the James Patterson is the guy that's on like every book in the bookstore. He does like every thriller mystery book, to the point that like he has ghostwriters that write on behalf of James Patterson. Nicholas Sparks was at one point, he still is one of the top, but at one point it was like every book in romance was Nicholas Sparks.
Walk to Remember, Mandy Moore.
Walk to Remember. It was always someone sick. It's in North Carolina. There's a carnival scene at some point. It really focuses on young love. I think he did Dear John too with Channing Tatum. So you have Dear John, the one with Miley Cyrus, Walk to Remember, Notebook, etc. Anyway, they're enjoyable romance films and books, and he's now teaming up with M. Night Shyamalan for this romantic thriller. Two of the least likely people I would ever think to team up. So I would have loved to understand this meeting of them, this lunch date that they have, that they were like, yo, let's do this. But the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal is now tied to it, I don't see him making a decision on a movie if it's not pretty good. But then again, Josh Hartnett was in Trap, so I can't really speak to that too much.
Jake Gyllenhaal did Roadhouse for Amazon. I mean, I had fun with it, but it's not a good movie.
That's true. It might just be one of those things that he's like, sure, why not? But the description right now is it's a supernatural romantic thriller based on an original story co-created by Shyamalan and global best-selling novelist Nicholas Sparks. They're independently writing a screenplay and a novel, respectively, based on the same original love story. So this is an interesting marketing play that they're doing the book and the screenplay at the same time, and they're probably going to release said book and movie at the same time. They're teaming up, and they probably have a cut of each. John, does this sound something like something you would enjoy, or does it sound like your worst nightmare? Because all I'm picturing right now is Jason Segel being like, this is my nightmare on the golf course when I look at this movie for you.
I love that scene.
Mm-hmm. I say that all the time. Like there's certain things that you quote that is definitely
this is my
one
nightmare.
of the things.
Yeah.
This is my nightmare.
Yeah, this is interesting because if you pair Jake Gyllenhaal and you got Nicholas Sparks, immediately you think like, all right, we're going to get the 18 to 44-year-old women who are going to buy the book. They're also going to go see the movie, ka-ching, ka-ching. And then you add this element of it, which is M. Night Shyamalan. And yeah, I love some of his movies, and there's a lot of them where I'm like, man, that was brutal. Like, I don't do a lot of middle ground with him, but I do respect him a lot because he just does his thing and he doesn't care what people think. He tells his story. He is a creator. Like,
he's very George Lucas.
Yeah, like ChatGPT, like we were talking about last week, is not coming up with M. Night Shyamalan stuff. So unless you write an M. Night Shyamalan story, and it would still not be as good because he has this way of weaving these interconnected themes and into his story, and ultimately has an overall arcing theme. This is interesting because what people criticize him about a lot is, you know, the wheels fall off at some point in his stories, and he doesn't know how to do a solid landing. It gets like off the rails, it gets crazy. And like with Trap, I paused it, I went back and said, like, when did this movie get bad? And it was like literally in the dead center of the movie. It started just getting
when he
bad.
put his daughter on screen and had her talk.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you add Nicholas Sparks to it, and maybe he grounds that a little, and you know, the cocktail of what they're putting together is something special. So this actually intrigues me. And you know, Gyllenhaal is going to be on the cover of the novel with an 8-pack, so that's going to sell books without a doubt. But this actually does intrigue me. It's almost like the creator version of like Barbenheimer. Like you have Nicholas Sparks with the romance and all this stuff, and then M. Night Shyamalan's like death, destruction, horror, And you put them together, and it's like, maybe we're going to get something really cool out of this. So I'm actually really intrigued. I want to learn two big things. You got to learn, obviously, what the story is, and two, who is the romantic interest. Because we've talked about some things where we watch a trailer. I think even last week when we were watching Note, the trailer for Note, was it? No, Drop. And we were both, I have Notebook in my brain, but Drop, I remember you were like, I don't know if I like the lead here. And I'm like, I think you're right.
They have
like,
no chemistry.
Yeah. So it depends. Jake Gyllenhaal is a very good actor, and he has chemistry with almost all of his romantic leads over the years. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. I just hope it's an actor and an actress I like. So it'll come down to that. But I'm intrigued. I think this is interesting.
It is totally true that it depends on the chemistry of the actors, because I mean, one of the things that made Carry On so good on Netflix was because the two main love interests were very good and very like their chemistry was off the charts. Like you really believed that they were in love with each other and they were in this relationship. And that sometimes it just doesn't pan out. It doesn't fit right. And despite having these wonderful actors or like two people you really like, they just might not jive. Like it just doesn't feel. And I see that a lot, honestly, with Hallmark movies. And I say that online all the time. I'm like, these two people didn't seem like they liked each other more in the poster than they did in the movie. But the thing is like you're laughing, but it's a romance movie. So that's so important. If the two people don't like each other, which fun fact, speaking of Notebook, Nicholas Sparks, is Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams hated each other when filming The Notebook.
Oh, and then they fell in love?
They did not like each other at first. They hated each other. But then they got to like each other after the fact. But it's funny because they were so good and they, you know, making out in public after the fact. But at the beginning, they didn't like each other. I also found it very interesting that The Notebook, one of the lead people beside Rachel McAdams who was up for the role was Britney Spears.
I know.
She auditioned for it and her audition was really good.
Oh, you thought so? Oh,
I thought it was really good. I thought she was, I loved Britney Spears growing up. Like she's a hero of mine. I think she's so amazing. I love her.
Let's not get into that because I feel so bad for whatever is happening to her.
Yes. And her whole
She's not okay.
I think that her family basically were leeches her entire life, and she never had a genuine connection with anyone because everybody just always wanted money from her, and I feel bad for her. But we won't get too deep into that.
No,
that being
can't.
Said,
yeah.
I think that this could be interesting, and I think it's smart on M. Night's part to pivot, because right now his whole shtick of what's the twist, what's the crazy ending is not working. He needs to pivot. So this is the pivot that he's doing. And hey, it might be one of the best things he's ever done. And I'm here for it because why not?
They're in the writing room and he's like, all right, now how about here? It turns out she's actually an animal in human skin. And Nicholas Sparks like,
how about here? She has cancer. And M. Night's like, yep, that's it. That's the twist.
She's a horse in human skin with cancer. And they're both like,
and they live in North Carolina in a beach town.
Yep.
That's it. There's a carnival. It's great.
There's a Ferris wheel. You know, there's a Ferris wheel. For some reason, Ryan Gosling's still hanging on it. But
how did you get here?
He's still here.
Anyway.
No, yeah, I'm interested. I'm curious what our audience thinks about it because it's like you said, you look at it, you're like, what? But yeah.
We'll see how it goes. But I like to get into some of these trailers because we have two very different trailers in trailer time this week.
Oh, mama. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do trailer time.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
All right, Gilleran. We will start with The Wedding Banquet, which is directed by Andrew Ahn. Cast includes Bowen Yang, Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon, Kelly Marie Tran, Last Jedi, of course, Han Ji-chan, Joan Chen, and Yaon Yu-jung. Theaters April 18th, which not summer yet, but it's in the We Believe
it's when
in
we're in
movie.
Japan.
Yeah, it's in the We Believe in This Movie category. But you watched the trailer. What did you think?
I think this movie looks cute. I think it's a cute idea. It's two gay couples that are living together or sharing a house together. And the pressures of the older generations on the younger generations of following tradition, especially with Asian families and their heritage. It reminds me very much of like Crazy Rich Asians with like tradition and how things should be done, and the pressures of
Yeah.
taking care of elderly and telling them the truth and like living up to expectations. I mean, it has a stacked cast. I feel like Bowen is in everything. That guy is having like a crazy time right now. Not only is he on SNL, but
Yeah, is
he was
still
in
on
Wicked.
SNL?
Yeah, he was on Wicked. He's in this. He's like in everything.
Yeah, good for him.
But yeah, so the premise is that one of their grandmothers, he never told them that he was gay. The grandmother then comes to see he gets, I guess, he freaks out, panics, says he's engaged to Kelly Marie Tran's character, and then the grandma shows up, so they have to play like the whole charade of, hey, we're actually together, we're not gay, we're a normal heterosexual couple. And there's a lot of jokes of them like, you know, de-gaying their house, as they say it in the trailer, where they're taking all this lesbian literature out of the house, you know, funny moments like that. I would totally watch this. I'm probably not going to go to the theaters to see it because, again, we talk about this all the time. You got to pick and choose when you have kids. But the moment it's out on digital, I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, I think the idea is really fun. I like seeing Kelly Marie Tran. I don't know that I've seen her in a trailer for anything in a while.
Lego.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
But I like her. I didn't like Rose Tico that much, but I like Kelly Marie Tran. She was always so like sweet on the press tours and so nice, and like still came back to Star Wars, and I root for people like that. But this actually reminds me quite a bit of The Birdcage. Because it's really the main premise is the same. It's two gay men pretending they're straight to impress the older conservative in-law. And it's like it is that same premise, and The Birdcage is unbelievable. If you
one of my favorite movies ever.
Man, Robin Williams, oh, so good.
Nathan Lane, so good.
Nathan Lane, and then
Hank Azaria.
Hank Azaria, but Gene Hackman. Yeah, just really great movie. But so it reminded me of that. I just don't like. I'm not that like. Maybe I'll catch it like if it's on streaming, but I'm not pulled to see this. It looks cool, looks well made, but it doesn't really interest me that much. So I'm probably not.
I really like Bowen. I'd probably see anything he's in.
You do, yeah.
I do. I really do.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope it's successful. I love the idea. And I love that, you know, I feel like Crazy Rich Asians, and then with the resurgence of Ke Huy Quan, who's coming out with his own like Valentine's Day action movie
Squid Game.
Yeah. And Squid Game, like in the United States anyway, in Hollywood, like it's been late to the party for Asians and Asian led stuff.
Shang-Chi too.
Shang-Chi was great. Love that. Yeah. So I think this is cool. It's just for some reason when I watched this, I was like, I feel like I've heard these jokes before.
It's not really your sense of humor, to be honest.
Well, I don't know, because like Three's
it's
Company,
very internet savvy humor.
I feel like it is a little memey, but like in Three's Company, Jack Tripper pretends to be gay so he could room with girls, and it's just like then The Birdcage happens, and then like this premise, and it's like I understand the premise, and it is probably a funny premise, but for some reason I don't know that it's gonna land for me anyway. Like I'm not its target audience though. So
I hope they do make, and this is obviously away from what we're talking about right now, Crazy Rich Asians too. It's like it's been dragging to get that made. It's like,
it's in like development.
Well, the guy that came up with it, then got in trouble with like I think South Korea at some point. He was supposed to go back and serve in the military or something about South Korea, where like he left without properly leaving, and then they weren't paying him enough, so he wanted to leave, so he dipped out.
Oh.
It is interesting though that the director, I believe, is the same director that did Wicked, would be that one as well. So it's like, is he gonna find the time? Because he also just announced that he was doing All the Places We'll Go. John Woo, I think, right? That's his name?
No,
Wicked?
it's not John Woo.
Is it not?
John Woo did like Mission Impossible 2 and Face Off.
Oh, I'm confusing them. Who is it? Who's the John M. Chu? Oh my God. John M. Chu.
Right.
Yeah, I believe he also did Crazy Rich Asians. Didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So he was supposed to do the second one, and then they've been delaying, and now it's like, what is he ever going to do it? Because he's been doing all these other things.
That movie was very successful.
Oh my
God,
God,
it's
so
like
good.
Like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Like I think they're coming out with a third one, and that was like 20 years ago. So they'll
I saw that in
the
the theater like multiple times. Crazy Rich Asians.
I mean, I finally saw that. I think I saw that on a plane to LA or something. But
so good.
Yeah, it is good. That was a really good movie. I like Awkwafina for some reason. She's funny. And she's in Shang-Chi. She was good in that. All right. The next one is Competition, because releasing on the same exact day.
Oh my God, it is.
April 18th, we have a movie I'm very excited about. Sinners.
Very different vibes.
Very different vibes, but you got the pairing again of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Black Panther, Creed, here we go. I know you're not the biggest horror person, but when you watch this trailer, I think we talked about the first trailer a few months back on Nerdy and Nice. Now we get a bigger look of what the what the menace is. What do you think of Sinners?
Yeah, so initially we just talked about, I think it was like a teaser trailer of the premise.
We didn't know what it was. Yeah.
We knew it was vampires.
Did we know it was vampires?
Yeah. We knew it was vampires. The big thing was that I saw on the internet anyway, is that people were going nuts about Haley Steinfeld being in this trailer and like having blood going down her face and being very sexual, and people are like, wow, like she's wild in this movie. This movie looks intense. I said that when I watched the trailer before we started recording. I love the musics, the music, the edits, the strong performances. It just looks intense. And I do like the tagline, Dance with the Devil, or they use like the marketing, the night is for the sinners. Man, it just looks crazy. And from what I read online, it seems like the rumor is that this movie was originally for Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors, because all the drama with Jonathan Majors, they kicked him out, and now Michael B. Jordan is playing both characters of both brothers, which is an interesting dynamic, because now you're two different characters, and you can also do the whole twin thing, which is very popular in film. Right. It looks scary. It looks scary.
It does.
I mean, you sound like if we were at a movie theater on April 18th, it sounds like I'm going to the wedding banquet and you're going to Sinners.
I would honestly consider seeing this movie in the theaters if it gets like good buzz. Because I think Michael B. Jordan is a legitimate movie star. I think
he's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see him, he's got the tank top, he's got the muscles, and he's shooting a Tommy gun. He's got a mustache. It's just like such a it's such a unique like throwback to when like this is taking place, that the look of the characters is so interesting up against what the demon is. It's sort of like how Cowboys and Aliens was with Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig, and it's like these cowboys in the Old West, and all of a sudden aliens show up, and you're like, these timelines just don't make sense. That's what this feels like these wild vampires. And I know like vampires are like ancient old stories or whatever, but like seeing that like 1920s gangster looking guys with these Tommy guns and the suspenders and a piano and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden there's these vampires, you're like, what is going on?
And they're in the South. It seems like
they're in the South.
Yeah.
And I just like how it's sort of like, I don't know. It feels a little bit like Get Out, because it's clear like these white dudes show up and they're a problem.
They're the
And it's like,
vampires, yeah.
yeah, and it's like we're standing our turf, and like I like that sort of fight back mentality in these types of movies is always a winner for me. And it looks, I like that it's a unique thing. Like I'm so excited about Superman and Star Wars, and it's like, but we are really spending Frozen 3. We're spending so much time talking about sequels and franchises, and then Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan like, check this out, and I'm like, I think I might check it out. Like, it looks really cool. I didn't catch who's doing the music for it. That's my bad.
Ludwig.
But he is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's why it's so good. I immediately had to look it up. I was like, I know this.
I should have known. Yeah, this is going to be a really good movie. I would, if it's as good as I think it might be. Like, we could be looking at buzz for it for awards. I'm very interested in this movie. Sinners for me is something I could potentially see myself going to the theaters to see.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler has been kind of getting the press going for this movie because it's coming out in a couple months. And he did release a quote to the Hollywood Reporter today saying that, quote, "I'm blessed to have found this medium that I can work out deep philosophical and existential questions that I may be struggling with while contributing to an art form that means so much to my family." And he said that this film is the most personal film he's made to date.
All right.
So if the guy that made Black Panther is saying that this is more important than that, like, you better get your butt in the seat.
Yeah. And what's also cool about it, like, now that I think about it, I was just saying, like, we're always talking sequels and franchises. It's like Black Panther, part of the Marvel, it's franchise, it's IP. Creed, a Rocky spinoff, and now, and I know he's probably done other things, but now it's like, we made this. It's very interesting to me, so I am eager to see what comes of it. But I got my eye on this one, no doubt about it. I think it's gonna be big.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is that a lot of horror fans are pointing out that there's a lot of shots in this movie that are specific to references of other horror movies. And there's the one shot at the end where the brother's outside and he's banging his head on the door, which is reminiscent of The Shining with Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
Looking through the hole in the door. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are pretty hyped on this. And I don't blame them. I'm just saying my anxiety is saying, I don't know if I'll watch this.
My only criticism is I feel like they may have shown us too much, but maybe there's so much more, because like, they showed us Haley Steinfeld as a vampire. They showed us his brother, seemingly he is one as well. So, like, that almost seems like I was shown too much. But it leads me to think Ryan Coogler's smart. He knows what he's putting out, just like James Gunn, I was saying earlier. This movie may have twists, turns, or a lot of other surprises in store. So,
yeah, I just know people are pretty hyped on Haley Steinfeld.
I'm going to take a wild guess. And I hope it's wrong, because of Twilight. Yeah. But what if like these dudes are werewolves and we find out like these guys turn into werewolves?
You think so?
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. All I know is this does look brutal, and it's going to have some real world kind of reflections and
100%
pointing the mirror in the face of viewers, and I'm interested to see what that is. But the first thing that stood out to me, I'm not even going to lie, is the music of the trailer, and I was like, this music
I loved it.
Banger.
Ludwig.
Yeah, I'm all in. I guess I'll see it. I'll be terrified. I'll see it. You've convinced me. I'll see it. I'm scared already.
Dude, Ryan Coogler, I got the white girls coming to the theater. Add me to the marketing team.
Oh my god.
No, that's it for trailer time. So let's get into a little dose of what we're watching.
We can never leave the house, and would just probably sit around all weekend and watch TV.
Go on.
I can go. I actually remembered I've been watching something.
Oh, well, what have you been watching?
I've been watching, actually rewatching, because I started watching the show a while ago, like years ago. And then for whatever reason, I stopped watching it because I couldn't keep up with it on cable when it was on. And then recently it made a resurgence, or it's come back to Netflix. So I started watching it again, and I remembered like, oh yeah, I did like this show. So this show started in 2015 and it ran until 2021, and it's called Younger, and it stars Sutton Foster, who is rumored to be dating Hugh Jackman and was doing The Music Man with him on Broadway, obviously after the show aired. But it also stars Hilary Duff.
I like Hilary Duff.
And yeah, she's great in this. So good. And the story is a woman that is a divorced mother. Her daughter is in high school and going into college. The father left her, had a gambling addiction, like basically has left her at a point in her life that she's like, now what? She's raised her kid, getting a divorce. What should I do now? So she wants to get back into the workforce. She used to work in publishing and editing for book companies. So she starts going on interviews, and she realizes that everybody that works there now are in their 20s. And she's like, man, I really missed out on my career for the past 15 years raising my daughter. How am I ever going to get back into this? And then someone mistakes her of being younger because she looks young. So then her friend, her lesbian friend, dresses her up as a younger 20-something, and she gets a fake ID and applies to a publishing house as a 20-something. And then the series is about her life, basically reliving her 20s as a 40-something, because she can make people fall for it because she's really fit, she's pretty, she dresses down, wears makeup, and looks younger. But she has moments where she's like in the gym with Hilary Duff, who's one of the editors at the publishing, and has like a full bush. So they're like, what is going on? Like, what happened?
Whoa,
Yeah.
We're huh?
Saying bush. I can't say bush on our podcast.
Well, you can say bush. You could say full. You cannot say full bush. Oh, I just said
Whatever.
full bush.
Well, the point is that they then go like, what is that? You know, because it's a very like age difference thing. So then
Yes.
like those are the kinds of jokes that she's like, oh wait, I need to like change my whole look to fit the younger generations of what is beauty standards, etc.
Oof.
It's done, I believe, by the same team that does Emily in Paris. I believe it is. It's created by Darren Star, who does he did Sex in the City, he does Emily in Paris, Younger, Beverly Hills 90210, the older one. And yeah, he does Uncoupled, a bunch of different shows that, just like addictive kind of soapy type shows. But the big one, everybody knows I love Emily in Paris. So I remembered that it came up on Netflix and I was like, I gotta watch this again. And yeah, it's really good. It's one of those shows too that I feel like I can watch a couple episodes, come back to it in a week when I'm folding laundry or something. But it's just an interesting concept because you start to think like, would I be able to pass as a 20-something? Probably not. Like, would I want to do this with my life and go back and like relive my 20s?
Why couldn't you pass for like 28 or 29? I don't understand. You're not that much older than that, really, in the grand scheme of life.
I don't. You start to. So when this show came out in 2015, I was in my 20s. Listen, I was in my 20s. So even the lingo and stuff they're saying in the show, like with Hilary Duff's character, she's our age. So she's saying things that I'm like, oh yeah, I totally would have said that then. I know exactly what she's talking about, what she's referencing in the time period. Now, if I was to go back and work with people in Gen Z, they're going to say things that I don't understand. So I felt for Sutton Foster's character because I'm like, once you get past a certain age and you have kids and you start having this different life, you're so far removed from like the bar scene, the club scene, dating, stuff like that, that you wouldn't even know how to get back into that world. So that's why, like, to me, it's like this interesting concept of it is dated because it's from 2015. But
right,
like, if I was to do that now, I probably would be cringe, as Gen Z would say, or like I would not get certain jokes or things that they do, just be like any generation, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's the type of show I would watch, but
No, you wouldn't. You would not watch this show.
yeah. But that's good. And it's back. Is it back on, or they're just like it's back out there?
They just put it up on Netflix.
Oh, okay. So then it's not. They're
Yeah.
not like, oh, we're coming back, so we're gonna put it on Netflix.
No, it's
Okay,
just a
gotcha.
rewatch. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, I talked about at the top about the NFL playoffs, so I don't have to get to that. So I'm sure there's other things I've watched, but the one thing I watched recently was The Apprentice. I watched
Oh my God.
I watched the Donald Trump movie with Sebastian Stan and Jeremy Strong, and they're both nominated for supporting and lead actor Oscars. And I mean, Stan was really good. Jeremy Strong was really good. It really, so basically what this movie tells is the story of a younger Donald Trump and how he became his personality, which was his like friendship with this guy Roy Cohn, who was his mentor. And it shows you how that guy bled his personality into Donald Trump about just like, you know, never take no for an answer. Whatever you say is the truth. Deny, deny, conquer, conquer, conquer. So that guy really shaped who Donald Trump was. Like Donald Trump, I don't think he ever had like the highest of intellect. But he got money from his dad, and then he meets this guy who builds him into something, and then he developed this personality, like this bravado, and it shows how that escalated. And the irony being that Roy Cohn was a gay man who died of AIDS, and the movie infers that he was in love with Donald, and like Trump didn't like really pick up on it or whatever. But it's a really interesting movie. I'm not getting political with you here. I watched the movie about Donald Trump. If he wasn't running for president, I would have said the same damn thing. If he was the host of The Apprentice, the TV show. Sebastian Stan's really good. Jeremy Strong's really good. Check it out if interested. It's an interesting watch for sure.
Interesting.
And I hope Bane shows up and implodes the field on Sunday with no players on it and no injuries, so that nobody can win the Super Bowl. How about that?
Oh my God! Don't do that. Don't wish
No,
that
that happens.
on
That happens in the Batman movie. It's in the movie.
someone.
Bane shows up, and the field. He like the field collapses.
Yeah,
But
I
I
didn't
said
see
nobody
that
gets
Batman.
hurt.
I didn't
Nobody
see
gets
that
hurt.
Batman movie.
You didn't see The Dark Knight Rises?
Nope. I left with the best one. Didn't return.
Batman Begins?
No, the second one, Dark Knight.
Oh, Batman Begins is better than Dark Knight.
No, Dark Knight is way what?
Oh, we'll have to talk another day. We'll talk. It's okay.
Oh my God.
All right.
I have nothing to say.
I know. All right, that's it. Thank you to everybody for listening, watching, getting nerdy with us today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Hope your February is off to a good start. It's today Groundhog Day, by the way? When's Groundhog Day?
The first, isn't it?
Oh, is it always the same day?
Or is it the second?
February 2nd. So it was yesterday.
It was yesterday.
So yesterday
we made it
we
through.
found out. Yeah, we found out whether or not we have the early spring or the late spring or whatever. But needless to say, we hope your February is off to a wonderful start. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure if you're Star Wars fans, you check out the interviews we've been doing with Christopher Ford, Mick Giacchino. We put out a special episode covering the news recently for Star Wars. And then also another TRB episode coming at you Thursday. So a lot of stuff here. Make sure you also check out our Patreon, patreon.com/TRB podcast. Exclusive bonus stuff from Nerdy and Nice, TRB. We have a February 25th watch along of Labyrinth that we're going to do on Patreon. I've never seen it. It's one of Lacey's favorite movies. Very interesting. So a lot of stuff. Check it out. Patreon.com/TRB podcast. Tiers start at $5 per month. It really helps us do everything that we do here. So we thank you for all your support. And we have to give a special shout out to the Movie Star Generals and Silver Screen Spice Runners. The Generals, Carmelo, John Risi, Jenna Rosewater, Frank Grande, Nick Kratz, Chris Morales, Brian Smith, Danny, Mike Rumore, Brendan McLaughlin, Sneaky Zebra, Dave Hornack, Colin Cormier, Stephen Garrow, Sachi, and Darth Snips. And the Spice Runners, David Probus, Neil Shaw, KENDALL, GELNER, Andrew Staley, Jeremy Myers, and the THEFORTWORTHIAN. A lot of those names we'll be seeing in Japan around Star Wars Celebration for sure. Can't wait. And to everyone, however you support Nerdy and Nice, the Resistance broadcast, all under TRB. Thank you all so much. Hit me up on Blue Sky at Johnny Hoey or X, also Johnny Hoey. and my other movie podcast, Not Safe for Work, Just Like the Movies. Lacey, where can people hit you up?
People can find me on social media at Lacey Gilleran on TikTok at Lacey Gilleran on TikTok at It's Lacey Gilleran.
We both botched our things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long week, guys.
It has.
I want to know what everybody's Super Bowl snacks are. So tweet at us and let us know. I am a big fan of buffalo dip, so might be making
wings.
some.
Wings?
Are they boneless?
No. You got. I do like boneless wings. I'm not prejudiced against it.
Some people are very against boneless. I love boneless. I don't like eating like body parts.
I mean, you are. It's just not attached to a bone.
Like ribs, wings, anything with a bone. Not a
Okay.
fan.
Oh, you don't like spare ribs?
I like spare ribs off the bone.
All right.
Boneless spare ribs, which is
All right.
usually my Chinese food order. Fun fact.
Those are good. They come in the
They're
bag.
No, not the boned one. The boneless. Oh my God.
I thought they all came in the bag. I'm sorry.
No bones. No
right.
bones, no bushes on this podcast.
No, you could say bush. You can't say full bush.
Why not?
Because you could be like, oh, look at that bush over there. Be like, oh, okay, that's a nice bush. But if you say, look at that full bush, it'd be like, you know what I mean?
But what
Think
if
about
it's
it.
springtime and it's like really filling out with some beautiful
Now
flowers?
we're saying filling out.
Anyway, let me know what
All
your
right.
snacks are for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And you gotta make me some meatballs now. Now that
They're
we're
already
talking about
made. They're in my freezer. I made literally,
Oh,
I
I
think,
don't wanna
60 of
take-
them.
You clearly made those for other people. I need my batch.
Are you buying me ground beef because it's not cheap? You want to buy it?
No, I'm gonna go to Costco and watch you buy it and be like, oh, you don't like those meatballs?
Very judgy. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Anyway,
what a
guys, have a
wacko.
great day.
Yeah, thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. So until next time, we'll see you around, kids.